moldings, tile work, and spectacular views that other senior senators enjoyed, but short on memorabilia or photographs of handshakes with the famous that adorned other offices. Let me get to the point, Harry said, as if he were known for small talk. We've got a lot of people in our caucus planning to run for president. I can hardly count them all. And they're good people, Barack, so I can't be out there publicly taking sides. Listen, Harry, just so you know, I'm not... But, he said, cutting me off, I think you need to consider running this cycle. I know you said you wouldn't do it, and sure, a lot of people will say you need more experience. But let me tell you something. 10 more years in the Senate won't make you a better president. You get people motivated, especially young people, minorities, even middle-of-the-road white people. That's different, you see. People are looking for something different. Sure, it'll be hard, but I think you can win. Schumer thinks so, too. He stood up and headed toward the door, making it clear the meeting was over. Well, that's all I want to tell you, so think about it, okay? I left his office stunned. As good a relationship as I developed with Harry, I knew him to be the most practical of politicians. Walking down the stairs, I wondered if there was some angle to what he had said, some sophisticated game he was playing that I was too dim to recognize. When I later talked to Chuck Schumer, and then to Dick Durbin, they delivered the same message. The country was desperate for a new voice. I would never be in a better position to run than I was now. With my connection with young voters, minorities, and independents, I might broaden the map in a way that could help other Democrats down the ballot. I didn't share these conversations beyond my senior staff and closest friends, feeling as if I'd stepped into a minefield and shouldn't make any sudden moves. As I mulled it all over with Pete, he suggested I have one more conversation before I consider taking a more serious look at what a race would entail. You need to talk to Kennedy, he said. He knows all the players, he's run himself. He'll give you some perspective, and at the very least, he'll tell you if he plans to support anyone else. Heir to the most famous name in American politics, Ted Kennedy was by then the closest thing Washington had to a living legend. During more than 4 decades in the Senate, he'd been at the forefront of every major progressive cause, from civil rights to the minimum wage to healthcare. His great bulk, huge head, and mane white hair, he filled every room he walked into, and was the rare senator who commanded attention whenever he gingerly rose from his seat in the chamber, searching his suit pocket for his glasses, for his notes. That iconic Boston baritone launching each speech with, "Thank you, Madam President." The argument would unspool, face reddening, voice rising, building to a crescendo like a revivalist sermon, no matter how mundane the issue at hand. And then the speech would end, the curtain would come down, and he would become the old avuncular Teddy again, wandering down the aisle to check on the roll call or sit next to a colleague, his hand on their shoulder or forearm, whispering in their ear or breaking into a hearty laugh. The kind that made you not care that he was probably softening you up for some future vote you might need. Teddy's office on the 3rd floor of the Russell Senate office building was a reflection of the man, charming and full of history, its walls cluttered with photographs of Camelot, models of sailboats, and paintings of Cape Cod. One painting in particular caught my attention, the dark, jagged rocks curving against a choppy white canvas sea. Took me a long time to get that one right, Teddy said, cupping up beside me. 3 or 4 tries. It was worth the effort, I said. He sat down in his inner sanctum, the shades drawn in a soft light, and began telling stories about sailing, his children, and various fights he'd lived through on the Senate floor. Rival stories, funny stories. Occasionally he drifted along some unrelated current before tacking back to his original course, sometimes uttering just a fragment of thought, all the while both of us knowing that this was a performance. We were just circling the real purpose of my visit. "So," he said finally, "I hear there's talk of you running for president." I told him it was unlikely, but that I nevertheless wanted his counsel. Yes, well, who was it who said there are 100 senators who look in the mirror and see a president?
That was a nice
They asked, "Do I have what it takes?"
Offbeat.
Jack, Bobby, me too, long ago.
Almost there.
Didn't go as planned, but things worked out in their own way, I
He
suppose.
tried to throw me off with some
Trailed off,
sidelines.
lost his thoughts.
So here we
Watching him, I wondered how
are.
he
This
took the measure of
is
his
the
own life.
Bishop C4, is the Boulder Attack.
The terrible price that each of them had paid.
Rookie E1, interesting
And
move.
just as suddenly
It
he was
stops
back.
some tactics I have against
all business.
E4.
Won't be waiting in early, Ted said.
Here we
Too
go.
many friends. But I can tell you this, Barack. Power to
then
inspire is rare.
He's tripling up
like
on
this are
F7,
rare.
interesting.
Think you might not be ready.
Takes
Do
this
it at more
tempo
convenient
here.
time. You don't
You
choose
got
the
this.
time.
I'm threatening
Chooses
mate
you.
on.
You seize what may
H2.
turn out to be the only chance you have, or you decide you're willing to live with the knowledge
But I have to
the
scare.
chance has passed you by.
When he moves the rook, it's a double attack.
Michelle was hardly oblivious to what was happening.
So,
At first,
he
she
resigns.
simply ignored the fuss.
He can't take
Stopped watching political
knight.
news shows and waved off all the
Because he
overeager
loses the
questions from
queen.
friends and coworkers about whether I was
Therefore,
going
he
to
has
run.
to move the queen.
When one evening at home I mentioned the conversation I'd had with
Then
Harry,
I say,
he just shrugged. Now you're not pressing the issue.
I was thinking
As the summer wore on,
about
though, the chatter began to seep
this
through the
bit
cracks
here.
and crevices of our home life.
kind of
Our evenings and
interesting.
weekends appeared normal so long as Malia and Sasha were swirling
Oh,
around.
no.
But I felt the tension whenever Michelle and I were alone.
But,
Finally, one night after the girls were asleep,
I'm still a
I came into the
piece
den where she was watching TV
so
and heard the sound. You know I didn't plan any of
quite
this. I said, sitting down next to her on the couch. Michelle stared at the silent screen.